What's going on, guys? Sledgehammer70 here, and it is time to take a drive. And on today's drive, I want to talk about a topic that is something I've been really focusing on these last couple days, and that's been the exhaust of my 2016 Camaro SS. And a lot of people, they buy exhaust just based on the sound, and they don't really know what's going on, what's happening, what's that crazy buzzing, vibrating noise that I get from it, like all that kind of stuff. And there's just a lot of people that don't know the difference of what to look for, what makes Corsa and Borla different from a Flowmaster or a Stainless Works, etc. There's a lot of things that go into these exhausts. They're not just, oh hey, let's bolt something together that looks cool and potentially sounds okay. And a lot of it just comes down to design and tone. So a lot of people get exhaust for two different reasons. Usually it's performance gains or it's sound. I would probably not lose an argument in saying 90% of people buy an exhaust for performance and sound is a bonus to them. But I could be wrong. So if you think I'm wrong, folks below. But the reason why, or at least when you get a new exhaust on your car, there's a lot of things that happen. One, obviously the sound will change from your stock setting. Two, you could potentially get a performance increase. And three, that sound could be really loud, or it could be a little bit louder, or, you know, in the likes of the new Camaro, if you have dual mode, you can still retain the ability to change the sound and adjust it across the board. And the one thing that a lot of people don't realize, and they'll get their new exhaust and they're like, holy crap, at 1,900 RPM or 2,500 RPM, I get this really loud buzzing noise. Most people, you know this as drone. Drone is something that makes and breaks a lot of exhaust for cars because a lot of people don't like the sound. Now, if you're someone like me and wants to hear the exhaust all the time, drone doesn't bother you. And I'm sure there's a lot of you guys out there that drone's just not an issue for you. But for those of you who do hate drone and want to go with it, that's where a lot of these companies that make exhaust come into play. Corsa is actually known to create an exhaust that actually, well, actually, let me step back. So what causes drone? Now, in the world, every material, no matter what, has a frequency that will create resonance. Every material has a different style frequency, but when it comes to crafting exhaust, typically, I'm going off memory here, so please correct me if I'm wrong, but I think it's like 133 hertz to like 138 hertz is the range in where exhaust materials will resonate and create that drone. And there's a lot of different things you could do to combat that in regards to how you think about your exhaust when you build it out. Now, a lot of people will be like, oh, that's fine, I'll just put Dynomat all over my car, or I'll do whatever to eliminate drone. That doesn't work. I mean, that's gonna help sound, but it's not gonna eliminate drone, because drone is something that's derived from a frequency that you can't ignore or get away from. Now, going back to the Corsa side, and I spent a lot of time reading up about Corsa and how they build exhaust and all that kind of stuff, and it comes down to their technology, and it's their exhaust design actually combats or eliminates the wave frequency where drone hits. And that's that takes a lot of time and engineering and stuff like that to come up with a design like that. Borla does the same thing. You know, you got different exhaust, like Flowmaster, they build their exhaust sounds to have all sorts of different chambers that not only make the exhaust sound different, but also combat how that frequency comes through. And that's where, you know, in stepping back even further, it comes down to developing an exhaust system you want. Now, for this car specifically, I went with the Stainless Works catback system. I had heard an axleback system and loved the way it sounded, but it wasn't as loud all the time. It was on a 1SS Camaro that I ran into at a car meet, and I thought it sounded really good, but I wanted it deeper. His was just an axleback. And so I figured, wow, if I probably get a new X pipe and I go full 3-inch all the way back, I'll get the sound I want. And you guys are probably raising red flag. Sledge, you went with 3-inch pipes? Like, what the hell? You're not a race car driver. Why would you ever do that? And that comes down to sound. I got my exhaust for sound, not per se for performance, because honestly, I didn't build this car to be the fastest car or fastest Camaro on the road. but I did build it in a sense, or I am building it to be a good looking car that sounds great. That is my goal, that is my objective. I'm not gonna go win races. Sure, performance is a great bonus if I get any, but it's not my directive. I'm not going to the track or drag strip to beat that other Camaro by 1/10 of a second because I did X or Y or whatever. So, but that being said, going back to the different reasons why companies build out all of this stuff or all of these exhausts, you know, they put a lot of engineering time in how they build their exhaust, from full headers to catbacks to axle backs to X pipes, creating resonators. There's usually all sorts of different options that allow you to build out your exhaust in different ways. And if you call these guys up, they will help you. They will outline, okay, what is your goal? What do you want to do? And you can go through that. And get on it. So this stainless work system, when I put it in, like when I set out to build it, again, it was for the sound. And so I heard a couple systems, I looked at the different options that were available, and now that I have it on the car, and keep in mind, it's currently on the car with a test pipe. Now I'm gonna be putting my catalytic converters back on because it's just way too loud. But inside the cabin, previously, and you guys have seen the video of my 5 things to dislike about a Camaro, or the new Camaro, I thought the sound wasn't loud enough. Now the sound is just loud, and I knew it was gonna happen by putting test pipes, that it would be that way. So don't knock me for it. I just wanted to see, okay, if I basically did straight pipes, how is this car gonna sound? And it's loud. It's really loud. It vibrates everything from front to back. You can feel it, you can hear it. It's great. It sounds amazing. If I didn't live in California, I'd leave it this way. But honestly, with straight pipes, I would probably get CHP tickets every day I drove to work. So outside of that, I touched on this a little bit. In sleds, you went 3-inch pipes, and the primary reason was for sound. Now, 3-inch pipes are for vehicles that typically are running over 400 horsepower and are being used for track use, or you're using forced induction, or you have horsepower above and beyond 400 horsepower. Typically, you'll want to go 2 1/4, 2.5 inch for if it's your daily driver, you're cruising around town, or not a race car driver, because going with the 3-inch pipe, you're actually sacrificing low-end power in the low RPM range versus staying with the stock size pipe or going 1/2 inch, 1/4 inch bigger. And the reason for that is it all comes down to back pressure. A lot of your performance gains with an exhaust are all about the back pressure and how your vehicle is able to siphon more air, or what's the term? It's escaping me. Escaping air? Is that it? Correct me in the comments below, but basically a lot of it comes back to how fast your exhaust can get that exhaust air out. And there's different ways in how it can escape air from the other tubes with an X pipe, same with headers and all that stuff. It allows each piston to fire better, get more exit, or create more back pressure for exit, so all that exhaust just flows out of that car faster. But in turn, you get a different sound, different tone, depending on how big the pipes are and how that pipe management is from front to back. And that's where X pipes come in. A lot of guys will run H pipes, lots of different setups. And you know, I did a video on the exhaust setups earlier on. You can check it out here in the upper right-hand corner. But for this purpose of this vehicle, again, it was all for the sound. I wanted a deeper tone. I wanted it to sound great, but also when I got up on it, I wanted to hear it. I want to hear this car, and I did achieve it. The stainless work system achieved it. Now I'm going to do another video following up when I put the cats back on, so you can see exactly how loud the car is with the cats input, primary cats. Totally going to be throwing check-engine lights with the way it's set up now. And no, I didn't tune it. But typically, if you want to get the best performance out of your mods, whether you have an intake or you do full exhaust and everything, you do want to tune your vehicle to make use of all the changes. Because without it, your car will just not run as good as it should. You're leaving horsepower on the table, or torque, etc. Or you're screwing your car up to a point where you're losing power just by bolting it on until you actually tune it. In my case, I don't care so much because I got the tone I want, and I'm happy with that. So we'll see where the tone's at after I put the stock cats back on. I'm still expecting it to sound really throaty and nice, but you know, that's mainly because even the secondary cats have been removed with this system. So yeah, so touched a little bit about, you know, the frequencies for drone, touched on the pipe size. You know, it's important that you guys kind of detail out why you want to do the things you want to do, so that way you get a better understanding of what kind of exhaust systems you should be looking at, because it really is a science in a sense. It's not just, oh hey, I'm gonna go buy a full exhaust system. Like, that's kind of like when you're like, hey, I want to go buy an axle back system so I could just change the sound of my car and potentially get a little more horsepower because of the way that the muffler's baffled or packed, or however you want to position that. And you know, that's where that comes in. But if you're truly wanting performance and you want things to just sound great, be great, performance increase, do your homework. You know, look into what all the different companies are offering. Look into if you should get a tune with it or not. And also, it sounds so good. I really hope it's coming through on the camera, because you could really hear it. And let me just go back on that. So the stainless work system that I have, it's definitely more audible than the stock GM dual mode exhaust. And a lot of that's due because there's no cats. It's just straight up straight pipe. Now, when I do put it in tour mode, it's probably 3 times as loud as the stock GM offering, but it's just loud. It sounds amazing. But the one thing that comes with that is cabin noise. And I'm gonna do a video. I ordered my DB sensor that I bought, did not show up in time. My old one broke on me, of course, right when I get all this stuff. I literally pulled it out. I left it on the thing. I shouldn't say it broke on me. My oldest, or not my oldest, but my second youngest son. My mind's not working. My second youngest son got a hold of it and somehow it dropped off the top of my toolbox and it broke, which sucks. So I spent 50 some odd bucks for a brand new, nicer one in hopes to get a DB rating from outside and DB rating on the inside of the cabin, so you guys get an idea of how much louder it is interior and exterior across the board, if you are interested in the stainless work setup, or if you're interested in the stainless work setup with no cats, because that's going to make a big difference for anybody. And I know there's a lot of states out there that allow it, so might as well make a video for you guys who are interested. And that's primarily why I put the cat deletes or the test pipes in place, was strictly for testing purposes and to give you guys an idea of what it actually does to the car. The other thing is dyno. Like, I haven't been able to hit the dyno. I was planning on doing that this last week, and just didn't work out. The company that I was working with to get access to a dyno got backed up. They had to change dates, change stuff, and I just wasn't able to get there. So, but that's all coming. I promise it's coming. I'm not just making it up. It just has been really bad timing with me, with work, and then them being busy, and then also I'm trying to get it in before I go on another work trip. So yeah, so that's exhaust. Let me know if you guys have other questions or details, or if you know more details about exhaust. Like, I've been reading up on exhaust for quite a few years now, trying to learn and understand it's not just a simple thing to go forward and choose an exhaust system. I mean, it can be, because a lot of people will create a kit that is exactly what you need, but if you're trying to go for a specific need, or if you want to fulfill a specific want for your build, whether it's performance or sound, etc., do your homework. Check out the different systems. Call up the manufacturer and ask them questions. They are, like, I've called many of them, and they are so open to answering questions, giving you detail and insight why things function the way they do based on the way they set things up. It's really cool. And a lot of these guys are car enthusiasts just like we are. And even if you're not a car enthusiast and you want to kind of become one, do it. I mean, spend some time, get an hour, get 30 minutes, call these guys, ask them some questions. Tell them what your project is. Hey, I got a 2016 Camaro SS and I want it to sound better. I want to get more performance. You know, another thing I want to highlight, a lot of these companies are moving away from outlining any performance gains with their exhaust systems. And it's kind of sad, but in a sense, you know, so many people have taken dyno numbers to heart, and they just go, oh, my dyno numbers are off from theirs, and false advertising. And a lot of these companies have shied away from it, because a dyno is a small piece of a puzzle on performance, sound, etc. Yeah, it's good for a baseline or get an idea of upfront gains, but across the board, a dyno isn't the end-all be-all for performance, because if they put their exhaust on a dyno in California versus a guy who's buying their product and lives in California or Colorado, those numbers are going to be drastically different just because of the elevation change. And so being able to highlight that, they have to caveat so many things like, hey, dyno was done in this state at this time with this humidity and this temperature, because every single one of those things, humidity, temperature, elevation, will change the results, will change the numbers, good or bad. And it's just something to keep in mind, because a lot of people, they freak out about it, like, oh, I dynoed my car and it only had 8 horsepower gain instead of the 35 million that they promised. What the fuck? Yeah, it's just, yeah. So I'm gonna do some driving around. Yeah, I'm gonna look like a noob, but I'm gonna roll down the window and I'll do some driving, and then I'll do some driving with the window up. This is the first time I've had a GoPro in the car recording, so I don't know how the audio is gonna come through. So if it just sounds like crap or it doesn't come through properly, I'm literally just gonna delete this whole section. If not, then you're hearing it because I think the quality actually came through okay. So we'll go in drive mode. So the one thing I will say, in driving in manual mode versus automatic mode in this car, yes, it's the AA. Yes, you're gonna give me flack for driving in automatic. I don't give a crap. But if I drive in manual mode and keep the gears 3rd, 4th, 5th, you will introduce drone. There is drone. But if I go into automatic mode, it basically disappears as the car upshifts. So drone usually happens at that perfect frequency, 133 to 138 hertz. And once you're in that range, you're gonna hit it. So you can see when I get into 4th, it's barely hitting it. Drop into 3rd, it really comes to prevalence, and now I'm stopping, so the car's just downshifting. But let's do a nice little takeoff. So I'm in 3rd. So I just got out of that frequency. There was drone there, but it's kind of, there it is again. As you can see, as the car's downshifting, it's, whoa, there's a lot. Going a little fast to be going into 2nd. So we'll roll down the window. Hopefully the air noise isn't too bad. Oh, this sounds so good driving. So good. I'm gonna go back around the loop that I just went. The nice thing about having the A8 in a sense, you can kind of shift out of the frequency range and not have to worry about any sort of drone whatsoever. So now I'll go back into auto mode, and it basically gets quiet. I'm cruising at 45. It's probably in 7th gear right now. So I'm gonna leave it. It should start downshifting as I brake. You definitely hear it as it comes back up. Quiet. Again, cruising 46 miles an hour right now. It's really quiet in automatic mode. I mean, it's still there when you touch on the gas, But it's kind of nice to know that if I drop, like it's in sport mode right now, but if I dropped it in tour mode, left it in automatic mode, let it upshift consistently, it will stay nice and quiet. But that, I can now hear the stock, or the exhaust like rumble. It almost feels like I have a very mild cam in the car. And I can feel the rumble, like you can feel this exhaust. And again, this is with the test pipe, so I don't know how much that's going to change. I'll find out very quickly. But again, still cruising in automatic mode, not in manual shift mode or paddle shifts. Never gets old. It just never gets old. And now with this exhaust, I'm gonna get in trouble. I'm gonna stop. I'm done. So that's the video, guys. Thanks for watching. Hopefully some of this came through and it wasn't too muffled out by wind and whatnot, but thanks for watching the channel. Thanks for supporting the channel. Like, shares, comments, always appreciated. Always remember, upper right hand corner, if there's any videos I talked about or links, they'll be listed there. But until next time, guys, I hope to see you on the road.